Alright, guys. I remember that last time I called out the author for using luck as his own shield whenever his logic is a gap or flaw. But chapter 3, called as Who Dares Win or Loses, actually pushed up me to think about something I hadn't considered before. So we're gonna deep dive what we talked 4 days ago. Okay. So question, why do most companies end up just surviving, not winning big or really like being destroyed, but just existing? So to answer this question, the book draws a clean line between two types of strategy. Differentiation, which is a high quality, high cost, and consider high distinct, and a cost leadership. It's way cheaper, but it's easier to scale and faster to market, yet low quality. The book calls these two strategies as pure strategies. Companies that commit fully to one of these, according to the other, end up either succeeding a lot or just going to the bankruptcy. So it's high risk, high return, right? And that's consistent with the strategy paradox that we saw in last videos, which is high commitment makes high success, right? So, but today we're going to talk about the dark category, which is not a pure strategy. Those companies that is stuck in the middle. They're not committing the differentiation and not fully committed to the cost leadership, but something in middle. Somewhere in middle. The book calls that kind of strategy as hybrid. Okay, that's hybrid position. And the argument is that hybrid companies end up as zombies. They survive, but they merely survive. That means that they can never win. And here's why. The companies already fully committed to pure strategies are already dominant in their field, right? So the differentiators on the premium segments, while the cost leaders on the price sensitive segments are target market. So if you're in the middle, you're competing against both simultaneously with less firepower than either of the pure strategies, right? So you kind of bleed market share slowly from both sides without ever having enough focus to actually take ground from anyone. That logic I actually found that it's pretty solid, but here's what the book says. If pure strategy are so clearly superior, why do most companies end up hybrid? The book doesn't really answer this. In my opinion, it kind of implies that companies just lack the courage or clarity to commit fully. So it says that once another company already took part of any kind of segment with a great commitment for others, it's challenging to take it over. So that's the main point. And I think the real answer, according to the book, is more structural than that. Pure strategies require you to make very specific predictions about your market early and then commit everything to those predictions, right? So most companies don't do that because making that kind of bets is genuinely too risky, especially when you're not sure like you're going to succeed or not. So kind of they hatch, yeah, they stay in the middle, not out of the weakness, but out of rational uncertainty about which prediction to commit to. It's logical, but it's quite cold, right? Which actually brings everything back to chapter 1, is that the strategy paradox isn't just about commitment leading to failure. It's actually about the fact that committing requires a prediction. And actually, most companies are too uncertain about their prediction to fully commit, or they're just not, they don't just have, they just don't possess the technology to do it, or a commitment to do it. That's why. Yeah. So it is not a character flaw, but it sounds like it is, right? So until so far we read 3 chapters, and the book's core arguments until here where I read is holding up. But the author keeps reaching for convenient moves. Like he his argument is kind of flawed with psychological bias, such as reframing evidence, attributing things to luck, glossing over structured explanations, and just simplifying where something that his argument cannot explain or elucidate. And that's starting to make me trust the conclusion less than usual, even when the logic behind this argument is soundable. So next chapters supposedly gets into the actual solution in more depth, strategic flexibility, and requisite requisite uncertainty in my according to my memory. I want to see if it holds up better than chapter 2 did. So see you guys in 4 days. Thank you.